The purpose of this video is to show you how to set up the emulator and get ready for your first time playing a game. So the first step is going to be to open up the emulator, and then let's go to emulation. And I recommend picking a fast forward speed of 3x. Now I encourage you to tinker around with this and find which fast forward speed you like the most, but for me 3x is what I like. Now the reason why this is important is because if you're playing a game like Pokemon and you're walking through the tall grass and you're going through battle after battle trying to find just the right Pokemon, well, in situations like this you might want the game to play a little faster, and that's exactly what this fast forward speed will do. Next, let's go to Tools and then go to Settings, and from here you want to go to Emulation, and I recommend enabling rewind, and I also recommend allowing it to go back up to 1,000 frames. This is important because if you're playing a game like Pokemon and you get into a battle that you didn't mean to get into, you can simply rewind to a state before that battle began and kind of pick up where you had left off without having to reset the game or without having to load state. So with those settings in place, we can now hit apply and OK. The next thing we want to do is create some new folders for our ROM files, the actual game files, as well as our different types of save files. So to do this, we're going to open up our File Explorer right here. And I want to do this in the Documents folder just for the sake of simplicity. So I'm going to scroll down here to my Documents folder. And the first thing I want to do is right-click in this area, go to New Folder, and I'm going to title this folder Gameboy. Now, within this Gameboy folder, I'm going to create 3 new folders. So I'm going to right-click here, New Folder, and I'm going to call this first folder ROMs. This is going to be the folder where the actual game files, the ROM files, are stored. Next, I want to create another new folder, and I'm going to call this Save Games. And my last folder, right-click, New Folder. I'm going to call this Save States. The next thing I want to do is move my actual game file, the ROM file, into this ROMs folder. So I'm going to double-click this ROMs folder. I'm going to slide this over to the right so it's easier for me to navigate. And the next thing I want to do is open up a new File Explorer window. So I go down here. I'm going to right-click File Explorer. I'm going to slide this over here so it's easier for me to see. And I know that my ROM file is in my Downloads folder. So I'm going to open up my Downloads folder, and you can see the ROM right here, Pokemon Yellow. So to move this over, simply drag and drop. So I don't need my Downloads folder open anymore. I can close that, slide this over to the middle. And you'll notice that this is a pretty big file name, and it's a bit complex. I'm going to simplify that by simply clicking once inside the name. I'm going to hit backspace on my keyboard, and I'm going to rename this simply Pokemon Yellow. Enter. So now that I've got my ROM file, my game file in place, I'm ready to move back to my emulator. So I'm going to close this out. So now I'm going to go to Tools, I'm going to go to Settings, and I want to update the directories to where my save files go. So to do this, I'm going to go to this option for Paths, and I no longer want my save games or my save states to go to the same directory as the ROM, so I'm going to deselect these two options. For my save game files, I want them to go to this folder. I'm going to click Browse. Again, to find the folder, we go to our Documents, then we go to Gameboy, and then remember, this is our save game files. We want those to go in our save games folder. So I'm going to double click this folder and hit Select Folder. Next, for my save state files, I want them to go to a different folder. So I'm going to select Browse. Again, I'm in my Gameboy folder, and now since this is save states, I want to double click my save states folder and then hit Select. So now I know exactly where my different save files are going to go, and I'm ready to hit Apply and OK. The next thing we want to do is connect our controller. Now, in order to do this and have it work properly, we actually first have to close out the emulator. And now with the emulator closed, and this would be the same for any time you want to play the game, before you open up the emulator, make sure that your controller is on and that it's connected to your computer via Bluetooth. So the hard part's done. We've already set up this controller through Bluetooth. Now, every other time we want to use it, it's very simple. We just have to turn it on and it's going to automatically connect. So to turn this controller on, it's very simple. All you got to do is push the start button. the lights will kind of shine back and forth. And once you have that one light that is solidly lit, you now know that it's connected and ready to be used. So with that ready to go, I can now go back and open up my emulator. I can now open up my ROM file. So I'll go to File, Load ROM. And to get the ROM file, remember, we go to our Documents, we go to our Gameboy folder, and we go to our ROMs folder. This is where the actual game is stored. And we simply double click that Pokemon Yellow.zip folder, and now our game is going to load. And we can use that nifty toggle full screen button that we programmed before, and now you are ready to play. Congratulations, and enjoy your first gameplay.